Welcome to a new video, and this is all about the Xperia lineup. And the Xperia 1 Mark 6 has a new camera application that tries to unify all the three different camera applications we had on the 1 Mark 5. Here on the 1 Mark 5, however, some people argue it's still the better device. I have now a ported over or early port of the 1 Mark 6 camera application, and I want to show it to you right now. So let's get started. So here you can see the Reddit thread that is talking about a working Xperia 1 Mark 6 camera port to the Xperia 1 Mark 5, and this is the one that I will link down below, and this is the one that I'm trying out right now. I installed it already, and there's this brand new camera application, and this is how it will look like. You can see it's a typical camera application that we know from Android devices, so we have the different modes that we can change to. There's a photo, video and bokeh mode, and there are a few other modes there as well, like the Pro mode that is still there. And yeah, first and foremost, the Pro mode is still there with the S, the M and the P mode. There's no automatic mode here anymore, but the program automatic I think is good enough. And if you need an automatic mode, yeah, of course you can just go to the photo mode and you have an automatic mode. Then there's a video mode. There's a slow-mo mode and a more mode. And this more mode on the 1 Mark 5 allows us bokeh video, live recording and panorama. So there's nothing of those new features that the 1 Mark 6 has, because most of those features are baked into the drivers actually for the camera and the camera software that is underneath this camera application itself. So we have the buttons there to switch between all the lenses, 0.7 times, as you can see here. Then we have 1 times, we have 3.5 times and 5.2 times. If I press on it, we get a few others. We can like slide around there. We can go even to 2 times. By the way, on the 1 Mark 5, there's no enhanced 2 times crop because, again, this is in the driver. So we get the same thing that we had before here. And in video mode, when I start recording a video, if I go to 0.7 times, you can see it's like smoothly zooming in and smoothly. Let's go to 5.2 times. As you can see, it's smoothly doing this transition, which is quite nice, even smoother and slower than all the other camera applications. It gives a bit of a cinematic vibe to it, but I would like to have this at least configurable so that it can be a bit quicker or slower, the way that I want it to be. During recording, I take a snapshot. I can pause the recording or stop the recording. And of course on the top we have the recording time that you saw for a split second, and before recording I can choose the resolution and the frame rate. And here of course all the frame rates are possible, so let me choose here 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, or even, let me press this again, 24 frames per second in 4K are possible. And yeah, 4K is possible. I have also like a wrench icon that I can press here to get more all configurable options there, like HD, Full HD, 4K, and the frame rates. I can turn on the light, and I have also the product showcasing option that I can turn on here. So these are the options there. The old options are not gone. You can still go to the old options menu. Let's go to photos just to check out how or what we have here. So in terms of photo, we have the flash on the top left. Otherwise, we have this configure button there as well. And here we can configure the aspect ratio, the timer, the flash that we can turn on and off. And we have a menu, and this brings us to the good and old Photo Pro menu, basically, that we still have here. And where we have some menu controls that we can turn off for focus, on and off for focus and shutter speed, touch tracking, grid lines. We can use the volume buttons as zoom. We have audio signals on all, haptic feedback, data storage, and some other options there as well, as you can see there. So this is pretty cool, I would say. And yeah, accessibility, other options there as well. In video mode, when we go to video mode, we have some different settings there. When you go to menu, you have the HDR, SDR menu option still. Dynamic range, again, nothing has changed in terms of dynamic range. When you switch to the wide range option, it will turn off the stabilization. I think they fixed it with the 1 Mark 5, with the 5 Mark 5 actually. With the 1 Mark 5, it is not there yet. Face eye detection can be turned off and on. The mic can be set here, so the mic priority like rear mic or stereo mic, and we have some other options like again the manual controls for focusing are also available here. Grid lines and audio signals, haptic feedback, data storage there. So basically it's just a new UI for the old Photo Pro app with a bit of more manual controls here as well. The good thing is this shutter button can be also for video mode, can be in photo mode, can be pressed and hold to lock and start video, and you can lock it here to start and have my video there, which is quite cool. And I think I can also do it in Pro mode. I'm not sure if it will take over the settings that we have here, but I can press and hold and go to video. I think it will go to auto video mode, but I'm not so sure about it. I have to test this out. And yeah, this is basically it. There's a bokeh mode as well, works as well as before. So we have the button here to choose how much bokeh we want to have. But you have a special mode there that you can switch to. In photo mode we have also some filters there, and I have chosen a new filter, at least I didn't see it before. It's called film filter. There's nostalgic, vivid, natural and bright, and I will take some photos with the film filter because it looks pretty cool, and we all know this is like the Vivo X100 Pro I'm recording with has this very cool vintage film filter, and also the Oppo has some nice film filters. So let's check this out on the Xperia, and I will also record a video on the Xperia. Like I said, HDR recording is also possible here. At least I didn't have any issues at 4K 30. I'm not sure about 4K 60 frames per second. But let's check out some video samples from the new camera app on the Xperia 1 Mark V. Don't expect it to have major differences there, maybe slightly color and HDR differences, but the rest is like really built into the driver, and if the driver is not updated on the 1 Mark V, then you get the same results as with the normal Video Pro app. So let's check it out. So here's now a video recording with the Xperia 1 Mark V using the new camera application from Sony. I'm using the external mic, hopefully it's working fine as well. I don't have any controls for the sensitivity of the mic that I saw, so here I think the Video Pro app still has a little bit more, and I think in general if you want to get the best video out of the 1 Mark V, still use the Video Pro app, because Sony, even in its early release of this port of the 1 Mark V, which probably never will get official, you will have limitations. There are certain limitations that you will definitely see at one point. I'm using the normal camera app here without any color profile, no S-Cinetone or something like this, but I will switch to the film look just in a second, because I think it is new. At least I cannot remember seeing that before. And we will also try out S-Cinetone to see if something has improved there. House stabilization, by the way, I have high quality stabilization turned on here while recording 4K 30 frames per second. So this is now the film look that I have turned on, a color profile here for the Xperia 1 Mark V with the new camera application. How does this look like? And I want to show you the smooth zooming feature. So I can either press the volume keys that still open as or work as a zoom function, but this would be a bit of cheating. Let's see the automatic like zoom in out function, which looks like this. So it's slowly zooming out then to the ultra wide angle here. So what do you think about this quality here of the ultra wide angle camera, film look, and the zoom option there? Let's try to zoom in on something. Let's see if we can zoom in maybe on this car there in the background, and let's go to 3.5 times zoom. It's overexposing a little bit for some reason, and then yeah, it's getting back. Let's go to 3.5 times zoom, slowly zooming in there, and then switching to 3.5 times zoom. And then let's go to the license plate, maybe 5.2 times, and I can even like go a little bit more if I want to. Just press the button and then press 10 times, and it will slowly go to 10 times, and the maximum is 15 times. I don't see much of improvements here, to be honest, in terms of the sharpness there in video mode, but you be the judge here. This is of course the film simulation that I have here on film color profile on the Xperia 1 Mark V using the new camera application. Last but not least, there's also S-Cinetone available here on the new camera application. It is under color profiles. If you switch to the cinematic tab, and there you have the S-Cinetone, it seems like maybe they will add some new cinematic color profiles there as well in the future. Not for the Mark VI, but maybe for the Mark VII. if there will come out a 5 Mark 6, maybe they will add a new cinematic kind of color tone there. We will have to see. Otherwise, this is a cinematic mode right now in the new camera application. How stabilization, how are colors here on this one. And yeah, I showed you the zoom test already. So this is basically it for this one here. I will take some photos now to see if something has improved in terms of photography. I think they changed a little bit the HDR algorithms. I'm pretty sure it is like baked into the camera, not the camera application. So the camera driver basically, like underneath the camera application, what sits underneath the camera application, and not the camera app. But let's take some shots and let's see how well this is working, especially also the zoom lens, because I think they optimized a little bit the JPEG output there, make it a little bit sharper. Let's check it out. So here we have the photos, and this has been taken with the normal color profile. I didn't change anything in terms of color profile, just to see if we see any improvements. It looks fantastic already with this nice bokeh there and nice sharpness of the flower and a little bit of like the leftover raindrops from last night. But as you can see also, this is using the main camera sensor, so you can get away with pretty close-up photos like this here with plenty of detail, as you can see here, if you catch the focus point right, which is of course, as you don't know exactly the minimum focus distance, a little bit hard, especially in auto mode, but it did a quite fantastic job here. And even if I go to the 2x zoom, which is, by the way, as I said or stated before, it is not like a dedicated 2x crop that we have on the 5 Mark 5 or that is now new on the 1 Mark 6, because it is a driver issue, or basically underneath the camera software, the issue there that they didn't optimize it. So this is just a scale up from the main sensor, but still plenty of detail. You see this is not as detailed as the first one, but still very, very fantastic that you have this ability here. Then another shot here with this camera, and as you can see here, this is now 3.5 times zoom, just to see the natural bokeh. So this bokeh here in the background that you can see is not fake bokeh, that is the natural bokeh that you will get, and you can see quite some details there, but still like a little bit over sharpened, I would say, and a bit overblown maybe. And this one here is actually 5.6 times zoom. And here also very nice bokeh and fall off to the bokeh there. Even I think maybe a bit nicer than that we had before. A little bit of detail there as well. But if we go to 100%, you will see lack of detail somehow, a little bit. There's like a little bit grain already going on. The sensor's quite small and we have a bit of like lack of detail. But if you zoom out, it's quite nice. Then the ultra wide angle I want to quickly show, and no, it doesn't have any HDR issues. It was just a great day like this. And when we go in here, especially towards the side, it's getting a bit softer there, especially you can see on the brickwork or the green up above. So this is like a silhouette of Cologne. And also towards the side here, getting a bit softer, but still very, very good ultra wide angle. I don't see much and didn't notice much of a difference here in comparison to the normal Photo Pro app. And then I switched to this is the 5.2 times zoom, and you will see that with this white car there's a little bit of glow going on, and I'm not sure why it's coming and why it's overexposing this one, and you can see it's not looking very good. And when I crop in even more, like 10 times zoom, I did an exposure compensation, because we have this new exposure compensation EV quite easily, just like on other smartphones. Just tap and then you get a slider above where you tapped, and you can just simply put the slider down to exposure compensate, which is like maybe a little bit nicer to use, easier to find. And then I was exposing the compensation, putting a little bit down there, but you can see it doesn't look good. This digital crop. And when I crop in even more, this is now the maximum zoom. This is what you get. You see lots of pixels there, so not much of an improvement that I see here, at least. Then selfies, just to check out how selfies look like. Selfies, just like before, looked pretty good. You can see we have a very cloudy day, so yeah, it's clouds there. It's a bit over sharpening the face there for sure to make it stand out a little bit more, but nice details there and nice color. There's even like a little bit of background blur, as you can see. that they add apparently. Then another shot. This one has been taken the day after, and this is now with the film color profile that I think I didn't see before. At least I was trying it out just for the fun of it. And yeah, you can see here taken with the main camera sensor. It looks pretty fine like this, like a macro-like shot always, almost. And when I zoom in, yeah, maybe not the best there. You can see also that it's a digital crop, so it's like 2 times zoom. It's not like the 1x at 1x, it's like 2 times zoom here. And yeah, it's really not optimized. So yeah, 5 Mark 5 or 1 Mark 6 are the way to go there. I'm not sure if they will ever update this on the 1 Mark 5. And then another shot. I took this shot just to demonstrate to you this film simulation, or yeah, film color profile that we have here. Has a specific kind of thing. So what it does, it raises the contrast, and it also tends to overexpose sky or brighter areas. So this is the trick here of the film simulation or film color profile. This is why you have in the background everything like overexposed there. So it's not bad HDR. It is this color profile that has this tendency to do such things like overexpose the highlights and getting the contrast a bit down, like the darker places appear to be a bit darker. And here you can see it as well. But here it tends to have like relatively good HDR still. This is now taken with the ultra wide angle. So this is why that is. The ultra wide angle has excellent HDR. So you have like this very, very dark kind of gloomy kind of feeling here. Which is quite interesting. Detail level is okay. You see it's a bit of grainy, it's a bit of over sharpening as well, as you can see here. It's doing quite a good job. But it's a bit, yeah, too dark here. Therefore, like the sky is nicely exposed. So yeah, here it's the opposite. Also the film simulation, like some people randomly staring there at the Rhine, at the river. And here you can see what it usually does is like having this highly contrast kind of situation with the shadows also exaggerated a little bit. Some there going, and overexposure of the sky and everything else there, as you can see here. And yeah, it's a bit of blurry because it was focusing on those two people that were staring there down the river. So then the next one, this has been taken now with the Nostalgia color profile. You can see it's a bit of different there going on. Also has this highly contrasty kind of look, and this also Nostalgia, where you can see like, yeah, where this is like not so much, but this one you can see this is now with a 3.5 times zoom, I think, or maybe 5.6 times zoom. Anyway, this reminds me, this is like the Nostalgia look. It reminds me of old film cameras and their kind of look somehow. And detail level is astonishingly good, as you can see here, for this kind of camera. You can see that there's a tree, you can see the tiles there. So I was quite surprised by this, having so much detail here at this very highly zoomed in state. And then this is a natural color profile, and here we have the, I think this is a 3.5 times zoom actually. Yeah, if I zoom in you can see not so detailed, but here it's looking okay. It doesn't have macro capability at all, so I had to step back quite a bit to get this one flower there, and it looks fine. It looked fine on screen as well, but if I zoom in 100% you can see like the noise and the grain going on. But I have overall the impression that we have a bit of more sharpening applied to the 3.5 times zoom and also to the 5.2 times zoom. But we will check this out later. Then here again, this is the Nostalgia film simulation, where you can see Nostalgia color profile actually. Oh no, actually not. It's a film color profile. And this is the bright color profile that I also turned on, just to see the bright sunny day. As you can see here, HDR is kind of working. It's like, yeah, making everything a little bit brighter, brightened up. Very, very sunny day, as you see here. Also quite nice. So we have various different color profiles. I think some of them are also already available on the normal Photo Pro app. And yeah, back to the film color profile here. And yeah, this one, there is some nuance in the sky, but it's tiny bit overexposed. But this is, like I said, it's the color profile that has this kind of thing and make this a bit darker there. going on. I was also like doing a little bit of exposure compensation here to brighten the scene a little bit up, otherwise it's a bit too dark here. Then there is the bokeh mode. I honestly didn't test out the bokeh mode and the bokeh update so much when it comes to objects on the 1 Mark 5 after the big Android update to version 14 arrived. But I tried it now with the camera application, and it's quite nice. As you can see, I'm photographing my Honor device, and yeah, should be everything in focus there, but it's like the bokeh mode. This is fake bokeh that it adds there. And it's doing it quite nice, as you can see here. So not much of an issue there with yeah, cutout being wrong or something like this, which is yeah, pretty nice. I took a few shots here, even like the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. And yeah, some people are like asking, hey, where's the new update? Where's the new update? 25 megapixel update. I didn't get it. I tried even the VPN to China with different VPN apps even. I still don't get the new version, so I probably have to wait for the next wave rollout for this one or download it manually. And yeah, this is then the Leica camera, as you can see here, from Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Also nice. It doesn't fail, which is quite nice when it comes to the bokeh mode. Then let's do a little bit of a comparison here. And for this, I have to go out here and we go in here, which I think makes a bit more sense. So we have here the camera application on the left, and we have the Photo Pro application now on the right. So keep that in mind. Maybe I will blend it in over this bar that no one needs to see anyway. And take a look at the specs. You can see that the camera application has slightly different specs. I was taking it basically from the same spot on and with the same camera application. So this is now 5.2 times zoom. So the maximum optical zoom that you can achieve on this camera. And look at the file size. With the camera app we have 2.6 megabytes. With the Photo Pro app we have 2.5 megabytes. This is in basic mode, the Photo Pro app, by the way. ISO is the same. Of course the resolution is the same. Shutter speed is slightly different. So we have a slightly lower shutter speed on the camera app than on the Photo Pro app. But the interesting part of what happens is if I zoom in, what you can see here is that we have a bit of a brighter, if I zoom out first of all, brighter image, a bit more contrasty image there, but also a little bit of sharper image as well. But just a tiny bit, like I said, I think it's only like processing of the JPEG maybe that they did a little bit different, but also like the colors are slightly different, a bit more contrasty here. You can see it also above here, where here it's like light green, here it's a bit of darker green, and it's a bit more defined here. Also like the brickwork is slightly bit more defined here on the camera app than on the Photo Pro app. Also here it's a bit softer, it's a bit sharper there. So this is what you will get. Then let's go to the, and this is yeah, this is again, this is the 3.5 times zoom. And again, we have 0.1 megabytes more on the camera app. And we have slightly different settings, like 1/1000, 1/1250. So we have a faster shutter speed on the Photo Pro Basic app than the camera app. And yeah, when we take a look at, first of all, at the details and everything, again, more contrasty kind of look here on the camera app. And when I zoom in, what we can see here again, maybe also the white balance, a bit more yellowish here, less yellowish there, maybe. Maybe not, I'm not so sure. Maybe also a bit more yellowish there, less yellowish there. But look at the sharpness and details. I think, again, the processing of the camera app and it's doing a little bit more there in terms of sharpness. Look at this here, looks a bit fringed out. Look at here. Also the color, you can see the blue here is a bit more warmish, I would say. Here it's a bit more bluish. And also here, yeah. It's a tiny bit different there. It's like not a huge difference that you will notice there, but the camera app produces a slightly sharper shot using probably a little bit more sharpening applied or a different JPEG algorithm there for this shot. So this is what I noticed. Then let's take a look at another shot here at the maximum zoom, which is like the 5.2 and then cropping in 3 times, which is like then 15 times roughly zoom on the sign and the text and the optimization there. And we could first of all go into small text. You can see it's not very good, but here you can see already that we have much more noise going on, much more sharpening applied on the camera app in comparison to the Photo Pro app. And this helps a little bit with reading this text here. This is a very small text for sure, but you can see the numbers here, 4, 7, 18, 99, where here it's a bit harder to read already, like the 5th, 11, 1945, and here you have to guess it. You can read it still, and you can read 1926. Here it's almost impossible to read it. So yes, there's an optimization a little bit going on there, but it's not a huge margin. But I wanted to nevertheless show you the difference there. Also in low light, maximum zoom here again on this one. Actually, it's 10 times zoom, I think, on this one here. That is 10 times zoom. Again, we have a bit more contrasty look. Look at this here being more black. This is a bit more towards the grayish, like, or brighter black. And when I zoom into the little text especially, you can see a bit more grain there, a bit more contrast. But in general, I think it's a bit more readable. So they're doing a little bit more processing there on the camera application. So it's a tiny bit better there with the same hardware, same drivers, everything. So it's just like the processing changed a little bit. Also this one here, which one you prefer a bit better? I know that some people prefer like a little bit more like this smoothness that we have here on the Photo Pro app in comparison. It doesn't have this sharpening artifacts so much. So a little bit less noise applied there. But it could be also because they are like optimizing it for their new lens plus camera combo that helps maybe a little bit there and has a little bit of a different kind of grain pattern. But in general, yes, it is sharpening things up a little bit more and getting a bit more contrasty kind of look. And yeah, that's it in terms of photography. So what do you think overall? Yes, I noticed slightly a difference there in the camera app in comparison to the Photo Pro app. Which one is easier to use? I think for those people who are switching a lot between other brands' cameras, the new camera app makes a lot of sense, where the uniqueness of the Photo Pro app sometimes can also be an issue for the Photo Pro app. So sometimes you get stuck somewhere, where with the new camera app, I think it is a bit more intuitive, smooth, the experience there. The only thing is like the Pro mode, where I have to stop down a little bit and you can choose between the P, the S and the M mode, which I think, I'm not sure how I would make it better, but I think they did not implement it the best way there in this Pro mode. I think they should have not have a P, S and M mode. They should have like have everything on auto, so P mode by default, and then if you set the shutter speed, then you have S mode, and if you set the other settings, then you have M mode. So basically a general everything on P and M mode, and not like a dedicated S mode. But this is just like my opinion for this, otherwise it's getting a bit clunky. Nevertheless, both doing a fine job here, the apps, but with a slightly bit of difference there on the camera app, so it's at least worth trying it on your phone, and you don't have to remove the Photo Pro app like I showed you. You can just use them in parallel and just stick to the camera app that you like to use. So that's it for the photo comparison here. Front-facing video I forgot totally, and this is, by the way, the internal mics. I'm not sure if it's switching, if I'd go to front-facing video, switching to the front mics and not the rear mic. That wouldn't make any sense. How's HDR there? I think it's overblown still, at least on screen. So what do you think about this one here? And now same scene with the main camera sensor. Better HDR for sure, with SDR recording, however. Probably a little bit overblown there as well still. So what do you think about this one here? So, last but not least, some questions answered, and one question I can answer already is I'm using the new camera app with the Sony Vlog monitor. It's working fine, no issues at all. By the way, I'm using the internal mics right now because I cannot plug in my USB-C mic while the vlogging monitor is there. But otherwise, you should get another nice microphone quality here. What other questions do you have or might have? The camera button that you press and hold to open up Photography Pro cannot be switched to open up the Camera Pro app, even though there is a setting for this. If you try to change it, the camera app is just crashing. Other devices like the Xperia Pro I that I have here in my hands, I try to install the app, it installs fine, but it doesn't run at all, it just crashes. And the same goes because I also got some questions about Xperia 10 devices. So this is the Xperia 10 Mark V, for example. The 10 Mark 6 also has now the new camera app. It doesn't work on the 10 Mark V, even though it is the same camera hardware basically, but probably something different there in the pipeline for the drivers and so on. So you can expect maybe on the 10 Mark 6 also a bit better camera experience there as well, without the Pro mode, however, which is like a bit weird because on the 10 Mark V we still have this Pro mode, even though a different camera application. So what is cool here is that this is working fine so far. You can use it as a separate app installed on your Xperia 10 Mark V, for example, 1 Mark V, for example, or even 1 Mark IV, where almost everything is working as well. Almost everything means some things are not working on the 1 Mark V as well as on the 1 Mark IV here as well. So this is something that you have to keep in mind. Nevertheless, I think it's a cool feature to have this app to try things out, especially if you want to hand someone else to take a photo. Just use this app instead of the Photo Pro app, because Photo Pro app, even in basic mode, might be a little bit too complicated, and you get a little bit of a benefit there, especially if you like to have this film color profile here, and maybe some other options that you just like to do better there. Just try it out and you see if you like this better or the Photo Pro app. You can just switch between them for specific needs and situations. The one might be better than the other. So that's it in terms of this camera app for the Xperia 1 Mark 6, now already ported or somehow ported to the 1 Mark V and also working on the 1 Mark IV. I did not try it on the 1 Mark III. I don't have the 1 Mark III. Actually, I don't have a 1 Mark IV. Just asked someone who has a 1 Mark IV and he said it's working fine. So working fine in a sense like almost everything is working. The basic features are working. Some special features probably will not work there. Will I get the 1 Mark VI? I'm still struggling. You probably saw or will see another video that I will do a bit complaining about the 1 Mark VI, my first reaction after seeing the announcement. After seeing some photos, some analysis, I was like, maybe, but it's like everything else has improved, but the cameras are like stayed almost the same there with slight improvements here and there, where I really would them to put like 48 megapixels with the X-Mode-T sensor inside, then I would be completely happy with all the other changes. But maybe I have to wait for the 1 Mark VII for this to arrive. Otherwise, great device, great camera application as well. That needs a bit of work still, especially the Pro video features are missing still on this one. But what do you think in general about it? We'll put the link to Reddit, which has a link for the camera app, because I don't want to get in legal problems if it's like some legal issue there as well, in the description there. If you have some questions, ask them in the comment section. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.